We made it.
All right. So, all right. So I was just telling everybody that kind of what we were doing, why it's almost like a vodcast kind of spotlight. So this one we're doing is all on city plots. Topics of questions is basic overall city plots, guild versus free cities, building management, so how to manage those plots. Governor powers is a deeper look specific to the governor powers itself, of course. Obviously, we're going to have battles, prestige, and cosmetics. And those are going to be the topics that we're going to cover today. They were predetermined, which is really good. So if you guys want to get questions asked, or answered, there will be a multitude of places that's been described. He'll have a post put up on the forums. So if you guys don't have an account, I would suggest that you guys make an account so you could participate on the forums with question and answers. Also, there is a specific place on the Discord, and you know, that's a great place that I think is very underutilized, being that we are all Discord junkies. You know, without further ado, I'm Oxford, Prometheus, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hello.
This is when he blushes. And again,
exaggerate as usual.
listen, I can do a few things, and kissing ass is one of them. So it works. I'm just trying to get a t-shirt. So yeah, where we're at right now is we'd like to welcome you guys to the first of hopefully many. I know we got off to a little rough start. It's 1:13, but we'll try to honor that hour. So we have these questions. We'd like to get through them. We'll ask them, he'll answer them, and we'll kind of move through them. If there's something that comes up in chat, I'm paying attention to that also, that may be relevant to the specific question. I know there's a delay, and if we don't answer it, I apologize, but we will do that. And thank you guys for pointing out the beardless of myself. I'm very disappointed in that. It's a deep cut. So I'll turn it over to you, Prometheus, so you can say hi as you usually do, and then we'll get started.
Hi everybody, and happy Easter first of all. Glad of having you here as usual. We have 70 people this time. Not bad. I hope we can reach 100.
That would be cool.
Let's see if we manage.
That would be good. That'd be good. On the city plot. So to start off, first question, and the only thing we didn't do this time is get who asked them. So we'll shout out to everybody. Hopefully you hear your question and get the answer you're looking for. And then real quick also, I want to give an awesome shout out to Dream Craft WD. She gave me some images that I could put up. So took some of the artwork, scavenged it, moved it around, and made it look pretty. So thank you for that. But so with further ado, so first question would be, will two different player cities be allowed to be close to one another? And will it be possible that they grow into like a metropolis if they both grow in the size and then kind of like meld and connect?
Yeah, so this, I think these questions come from the feature spotlight that we dropped during our Kickstarter. It was more than 1.5 years ago. So some things about that spotlight are no longer up to date. So they're just plain different now. Okay. And so regarding cities and city plots, I think there were a lot of questions about this topic. So let me clarify. Just like player spots, I mean the one that you've been able to claim in these testing phases, the upcoming city plots are positioned by us in specific points on the map. So you're not able to drop a city plot whenever you want. You just have a certain amount for each continent, and the size of each plot is also predetermined. There are two types of city plots, small ones and large ones. We are just creating the map right now, so we have something between 20 and 30 large plots and 50 and 100 small plots. So a lot, just in the continent of Mir. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. These small plots are about 120. They're all kind of squared or circular in shape, more or less. So a personal plot. I think somebody asked that. A personal plot now is 24 meters by 24 meters. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Small city plots are 128 by 128. And large ones are 250 by 250, which makes them 4 times larger. So that's more or less just to give you an idea. Okay. They are located quite far away, as far away as possible from each other, right? We're trying to spread them equally on the map. So it's not possible that two cities merge because it's just they can the size, the maximum size is predefined.
Right.
So that just can't happen.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so a follow-up question, I guess, would be if you have any outlying, like I say, your outlying house, will you get a chance or a choice to join the nearby city? So, so if the city expands, my assumption would be if the city expands, it's only going to expand to the specific square. So if you start out and you're small, but the predetermined plot size that you're giving major cities or player-ran cities is already there, you just expand out almost like if you were playing like Sim City. So you start out small, but you slowly grow out?
Yeah, you do, but at some point you reach the limit, right? Okay. The limit is 250 by 250, and you cannot get past that. It's a square or it's a circle or a shape in between the two, and you cannot get past that.
Oh, okay. So you'll never merge. You'll never kind of like merge from, like, say, if I have a small town or a small home plot next to that, it'll never happen.
No, it will never happen.
Okay, makes sense. All right, that's a great question. Will there be any limitations on the size of places, which you said yes to? But if the limitation size, you plan on going bigger than that, say for like a metropolis, to be larger later on, maybe by purchase or something of that nature outside of the 250?
Yeah, no. So the way you expand outside of the 250 is by conquering hotspots or resource nodes, as you want to call them. Maybe we could call them resource hotspots. Yeah, why not? So so you have different ones according to the biome the city is located in. So in the mountains you have stone deposit. I mean, resource nodes of which are mostly about stone. Could be different kind of stones, and of course minerals. Right now we don't have blacksmithing, but blacksmithing is coming pretty soon. So we are also going to have that. If you go on the in a grassland biome, you will have mostly fertile territories as resource nodes. And if you go on the seaside, you have fishing spots, you have sand mines to make glass and so on. So you have all these kind of hotspots, right? And each city is connected to the hotspots around it. So you cannot, if you own a city, you can conquer a hotspot next to your city, but not one that is on the other side of the map. And that is the way you expand out of the boundaries of the cities, conquering hotspots and influencing the other towns, the smaller towns that are connected to your big town, if you are the governor of a big town. That's it. But as I said, you cannot build outside of the 250 by 250. You just can't.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, now I know this is something that is not really on the list, but it's very similar to where we're touching right now because you said smaller towns to bigger towns. You mentioned in past talks road building. Is that where road building would make the most sense between the two? The small city to the big city, or my concern would be travel, and I know you're touching on travel in the past, but say if I had a cart, a wagon, my travel is said to be faster if I'm on the road. So would that help with commerce between city to city, smaller outlying cities to a metropolis style area or a player-ran city?
Yeah, so actually, we're not sure yet we'll be technically able to allow players to build roads or improve the condition of a road outside of town. Because within town, the system, we have already developed it. So within a town, you can build roads. And actually, if you want to place buildings, be it public buildings or be it personal plots of lands, I guess we're talking about that later, you first have to put down squares or roads or crossings and so on. You have a pretty sophisticated system to do that, and each building has to be located right next to a road, like in a city management game.
Oh, okay.
If you play them, I guess you know.
Some city lines and all that sort of city lines. Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Outside of town, there are a few technical issues in letting you do that. The city that we have already built, the first continent, the cities we've built are very irregular. They're not straight. I guess you've seen them. So allowing you to pave those roads, which I guess is what this guy was asking, is not something I'm not sure that we will be actually able to do. I know I've mentioned that in the past, like 2 years ago, but honestly, I don't see that as much feasible now. However, these roads, we're going to paint those roads in a more clear way, because right now all roads kind of look the same, right?
Right.
They all look like basically, I don't know, they don't look man-made, they just they look like natural people walking there, and there's just some grass, some dirt, and that's how you recognize the road. They're not paved and so on. So I guess we're going to make the main roads larger. We're going to pave them, ourselves and so on, and we're going to allow people to walk faster on those, even without requiring players in cities to actually maintain them.
Oh, okay, that's
Probably,
great.
but you will be able to see which ones are main roads more clearly, and roads are going to matter because they're going to connect clearly small cities, large cities, and resource hotspots together. So you will be able to recognize what the main roads are.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So something along, I mean, basically these are all starting to fall in line, which is really nice. You kind of touched on it already. One of the questions was, can you grow the town size, which you said you would eventually have the ability to grow out to the designated defined size that's already there. But what I like underneath this question here, it says, will the cities be one giant plot, or would it start out as you can build in a corner of the designation, or do you build out circular almost if you drop a pebble in a lake and the ripples go out?
No, you can build anywhere, but you are going to build from the center, because when you claim a city, you claim it from the center, and in the center of a city you have some ruins, so that's how it works. Different players can drop their pledge as governors. If they get enough people behind them, the city belongs to them. So that's how you claim a city that has never been claimed before on the map. And of course, only a person and players who don't have are not citizens of another town or have a piece of land in the wilderness. Only these people can actually become citizens of a town and claim possession of a town, of course. So you cannot have a plot in the wild and one in the town, or be citizens of two different towns. So once you've claimed the town, the ruins in the center of the town, they turn into the town hall with the bank.
Okay.
So that's always in the very center.
Okay.
So you have that, you have a square, just a little predefined thing that we put together for you. And then you naturally start building from that, of course, because you need roads, as I've told you, and there has to be a road that starts from the city center. So I guess people, what they're going to do is they're going to make one road, start making buildings, make another road, and towns are going to naturally grow in a circular way from the center.
Okay.
However, I'm not excluding that somebody may think, okay, let's just make a very long road from one side to the other side of the claim and just build on this road, and then start building elsewhere,
Like a very Western style kind of mentality where it's just one road through town. Okay.
Yeah, if somebody wants to build a town, if a governor wants to make the town like that, he can.
We call it a one light town is what we call them here. So it's just basically one light in the middle of town, so no one gets in a car accident.
Yeah,
that's funny.
although since anyway space is limited in the world, right? I guess all towns are going to be quite packed. I think they're going to be filled to the very border with buildings.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it will end up like that.
Now, this is something along those lines about filling up and expansion. It says, how will this relate to expansion? For instance, if the walls are a defensive structure and the city expands beyond, which we know it can't, from these specific walls, how will that be handled? Will the walls move to the new perimeter, or will they stay in place, allowing the cities to have layers almost?
So placing down walls is just a governor puts down public buildings, defensive structured workshops, and so on. Just like a player now puts blueprints in his own plot of land. Okay, so if you want to build walls, the governor will go place piece by piece all the walls, and people will have to build them. Okay. Now, if a governor makes a small circle of walls, and then it doesn't have enough space inside, the only thing you can do is destroy those walls and start over in a larger circle, or just leave them there and have two circles. I guess that could happen. I mean, since building walls is actually quite cumbersome, I can see people just making two circles of walls. I mean, if you think about many medieval towns here in Europe, they have multiple circles of walls.
Right.
built for different time periods.
Different sieges and so forth. So okay, so here's a selfish question not on the list, but it's along this exact situation. So when battling or in wartime, the reason for that is the most precious materials were past, say, 2 barriers of walls. If we were to have any type of wars later on, if that's possible, and I know I'm kind of digging into something in the future, but it still kind of goes along the lines of that, is say your town hall is what gets captured? Or like what would be the benefit of having strategically placed multiple sections or multiple rings of walls?
Stopping people from getting in a town during a siege. So I guess we have a few questions about sieges, but you have to during the siege, if you have walls and you have a door, you have to break down the walls or the door to get in. If you have multiple layers of walls, you have to destroy multiple layers of walls if you want to conquer the city. And yes, you conquer the city by conquering the city hall in the town hall in the middle of the city. Exactly. So it's kind of
Okay.
like, when you were playing Shadowbane and you destroy the Tree of Life in the middle of the
Yep.
city. You do that, but with the town hall. Okay.
All right.
Basically.
So you heard it here first. Any credit goes out to building walls. Do circular walls. You're welcome. So we're going to jump down to the next one here. Real quick, instance housing in cities. That was a question that came up. I don't believe that, but will there be any instance kind of homes like a guild hall?
Not planned. Although, I mean, in theory, we should have enough room in each continent, and enough continents in the 3 planets. In theory, it's meant to be like 3 continents in each planet, to allow in everybody to live in non-instance houses.
Okay.
If the need would arise, we could go to the extreme choice of having instance housing within cities, a la Ashes of Creation, like that's how they want to do it, more or less. But for now, it's not planned, and hopefully it will never be.
I mean, it's a massive lot. The cities are huge already, and then knowing that, after being in the game and running from tip to toe, and the amount of space that we have, Amir, it's like I can see how there is the space that it needs to be. And obviously you guys making it that the spotlight, not just what we're doing spotlight here, but the spotlight is really player environments, whereas your home is more of kind of a niche, get away from the craziness of city life. So I can see how living in a city is much more important than living out of your home. So that's good. Like you said last time, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, living in a city, I mean, if you want to get access to advanced crafting and so on, playing with a group, living in a city is very important. Yes.
Yeah. So moving into management, since we started touching base on that, we've got a few questions here. So it said, who will be able to manage spaces in towns? And I just wanted to add a caveat that aside from the governor, will you have the ability to dispatch like a council or very similar to how you do guild management? You have the leader, guild officers. How do you plan on structuring building spacing and building and stuff like that?
Yeah, so the governor is the guy who has all the powers, right? So that's the power to accept new citizens, kick citizens out of the city, place buildings, and so on. So in terms of like town planning, I mentioned that before. It's like when you build a crafting station in your house, and you put down a blueprint, and then you build it, or other people build it. It works exactly the same way for a governor in town. So you can see the system is already there, right? So the difference is that that's made on a town level. So what the governor can place is roads, defensive buildings, walls. It can place workshops. It can place a bank. It can place a tavern. And yeah, well, there are many different kinds of workshops, and there are warehouses for heavy materials. There's a lot of stuff. To be honest, it's even too much to mention them all in this Q&A. Another thing that the governor can place down are personal plots for citizens. So you don't. It's not like the governor places a house. The governor places a 2x2. Oh, 2x2. I mean 8x8, 8 meters by 8 meters, or 16 by 16, 24 by 24. That's the maximum. Personal plots. And then players can claim them by paying a tax, and then keep paying a fee to the city. And players can do whatever they want. I mean, if you become the owner of a plot of land in the city, it's like you becoming the owner of a plot of land in the wilderness. You can put a house in there. You can have your garden, all your crafting stations. You can put a big house, a small house, depends on how big the plot is. You can do what you want. Now, of course, if the governor doesn't like it, it can kick you out. So if you don't build a house and just put down some tending tubs, the governor can say, you mind building a house because that gives prestige to the city, and not just have some crafting station lying on the ground. You don't do it, the governor can kick you out. That's the mechanic. But in theory, you can do what you want in your own plot of land. And
so what you're saying is, and basically, if I want to be a slumlord, I could be, but if I want to have a prestige city, that probably benefits me being the prestige, which we'll get into that in a few here. But having specific strategic value points on each plot laid, not just like a motel.
Yeah,
okay. Indeed. Very, very good. So here's another question, because we actually hit 3 on that one, which is really nice. It says, will residents have personal space, which I think you just touched on? Will they have set permissions by others, others by themselves, or even governors have access to the permissions? So I guess what they're asking there is, if I'm a governor, I give you a home, do you take the rights, or can I walk in there and root through your stuff?
No, the governor cannot do that. The owner of the house, of the plot, has rights to set the access level on the items as he wants to.
So I'm more of a landlord than I am a tyrant.
Oh yeah, well, but you can kick out the person, so you're kind of a tyrant anyway.
Okay, very, very good. I like that. Now, a follow-up to this is, when dealing with resource management and upkeep, say if I give someone an example, if I divide my guild up into crafters, like I have woodworking guys and a woodworking area, or a blacksmithing area, can I have those people have like rent due or any type of upkeep for that building or that plot size?
Well, I mean, public buildings don't have, they have an upkeep in terms of maintenance. Mm-hmm. So the citizens of the town, they have to contribute to the maintenance of all the public buildings. That's how it works. Okay. But the public building doesn't belong to a specific person. The public building, let's say blacksmith mm-hmm. shop, okay? The blacksmith shop with the crafting stations, advanced crafting stations where players go crafting the weapons and so on. It belongs to the city. It doesn't belong to a person. It's not like in Albion Online, okay, mm-hmm. where you have these cities where the plots are already all predefined, and a single person can rent each single plot in the city. The public buildings belong to the city.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that. Now, as a whole, we have so the way I can best suit it would be is we have what we would call cities. Now there's a state or the continent of Mir. Is there a unknown all-seeing eye that the cities themselves would have to pay homage to keep that plot going, outside of holding back wars or whatever? But let's just say I made a city that was open to everybody. It was more of a metropolis where all are welcome. To maintain my plot, what would I need to do to the world of the gods to keep it an area?
You have to pay maintenance in gold, in-game gold. Of course, I'm not talking about the dynamite gold. By the way, there are some people during this test that thought that you can buy the gold on the dynamite gold and you can spend it in the game. But those are two completely different things. It's not how it works. So in-game gold, like in-game currency, gold coins, you can find them now, by the way. And yeah, so there's a maintenance in gold. And there's a maintenance cost in food. So both of them, and the citizens of the town, they have to contribute with enough gold to the bank, and they have to contribute with enough food by moving food there. In the granary. Granary is the word.
Okay. So yeah. So that being said, when I place down a specific home, not home, but like a blacksmith or a tanner or, a specific resource management style for production, do we run that ourselves, or do NPCs populate on their own? So if I drop a blacksmith, an NPC blacksmith pops up, and then you can do transactional things with them, therefore doing taxes and so forth, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's going to be NPCs. But NPCs are so you can. That's also a way to absorb money from the players, right? If you want to sell something, they're going to buy something, they're going to sell something. But the bulk of the crafting, the bulk of the work comes from players. So when
Okay.
you build the NPC at the let's say the blacksmith shop,
Yep.
right? Then you decorate it inside, because when you put it there, it's not already built. It's a building like one of your houses. You will
Okay.
have a unique look, but it's going to be like one of the player houses. Inside, it's kind of empty. So once you build the building itself, you can decorate it how you want. Okay, if you want to put just tables and other fancy decorations just to make it look beautiful, you can. Then of course you should put the crafting stations in it. These
Mm-hmm.
crafting stations that are specific to the blacksmith building,
Okay.
right? But as I said, you can put them down as you want, and then players are going to use those crafting stations. And these crafting stations you cannot put in a normal player house. That's
Okay.
the big difference.
I like
So
that.
the NPC has a kind of a secondary role in there. And the primary role is what you build inside of the blacksmith shop, and the players using the crafting stations.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so now as far as in town, because still building management, in town, I know that you and I have spoken in the past where, like, if I have the 3x3 rustic, and of course I was like, hey, if I use oak wood or dead wood or will it change the properties of that? And that goes along the lines of, if I have roads, and I make them out of marble, or a different resource, will they change corresponding with what's used during that resource put down? Or is that something future that you have possibly planned?
Oh, so you mean like changing what type of resources used for each
Yes.
building?
Yes.
No, well, we have different buildings. So you have the marble house, you have the marble
Okay.
palace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that when the new player city, I saw two that stone and the house. Like, oh, that's so good. So seeing that those assets are
Yeah, so
coming in.
right now we have three types of buildings. We have stone houses, log houses, and board houses. That's the thing. I mean, in your own plot, you can only build log houses right now,
Right.
but we have already made the tiles and the pieces for the stone houses and the board houses. So you're going to be able to build
Nice.
those. And if you build one of those, it's stone house, more prestige than a log house, but also a lot harder to build, as you
Right.
know already.
Now going into powers, governor powers, because we're moving and transitioning into that more talk like subject of what I'm concerned with, because I want to be a governor, of course. Taxes for cities, we touched on that, but can you clarify more or less? Is it grain? Because I know that you're going to have a bunch of different style stuff. When we do a food, say example, because you already have satiation in the game, you have grain, you have different things. If I place a higher satiation, or will I be able to place a higher satiation food product or resource into for the taxes? So like we'll say if I give a bushel of grain, it gives 10%, but if I put in a cooked meal, would it give me 25%, being that I have to put more into that process to feed the town, to give me longer spurts?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, different types of food have a different value. So that's also going to work. Yes, of course. But the cultivation itself is not going to happen much within the city. It's going to happen in fertile territories, which are hotspots, resource hotspots, as I mentioned before.
Yep. Okay.
So, and if you're up on the mountains, you don't have those. Okay, you have a mine with any kind of mineral. Any kind of mineral is valuable, really. So not only gold, but suppose that you have a city next to a gold mine that is connected to a gold mine. So
Okay.
that's going to be, even if it's a small town, it's going to be a very interesting town, because you're going to be able to actually craft coins with that gold, other than of course gold armor and all the silly video
Really?
game stuff you can make. Yes, you'll be able to create gold. So that's going to be very, very valuable. But of course, that town is not going to be connected with any fertile territory. So we're going to have to import food to sustain itself.
So
And,
you're okay. So
and
you're looking really to start up a commerce system, a real, true first-time commerce system, where you have a city that can't produce its own food, but it's producing currency. So therefore, it has to go out, find commerce from other cities, make alliances, so you could get what you need, vice versa. More handshaking than it is on your own island kind of gameplay.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
what we're trying to do. It's quite ambitious, but I think we have the right ideas. Obviously, I think that. So I think it's going to be super fun and super interesting. We can't wait to have it to see it in action, and that's going to be pretty soon, by the way. So
That's what we hear. That's what we
let's
hear.
roll.
Okay, and so we've got another one here. It says obviously we said walls will be a thing, but there's kind of like a follow-up question here. It says, can a government or a governor forbid certain players to access the city? I.e., if I deem a guild or a player a criminal, or we don't really want their kind here, kind of thing, toxicity, or just in fact we just don't want them here. Do we have a type of system where if we place a city, do guards come in, and can I have those guards take action on players that we don't like, or I don't like as a governor?
Yeah, so in general, cities should be open to everybody. It's not like the guild territories in Albion Online, for example,
Okay.
just to come back to that example, which are private for a specific guild. Cities are meant to be visited by normal people just passing by, also because it's really needed for gameplay, you know.
Okay.
So you know that right now traveling is a pain. I agree with you, traveling through the world. But one of the big reasons why that's a pain, other than the fact that we don't have mounts yet, which are also very important, but the reason is that you you cannot stop and rest somewhere, drop your item somewhere. If you farm items, you must go walk back, run back to your own place, and that can take forever if it's
Okay.
on the other side of the map, right? But cities are going to be the hotspots where players meet close to points of interest, such as dungeons
Okay.
or other kind of points of interest on the map, like the ones that we have now. So, for example, if there's a town in front of the Shadow Veil, and there will be a town in front of the Shadow Veil, of course, we expect that town will be pretty busy because people being in the Veil are going out and going to drop their items in that bank. So that's more or less um, the way the way towns will become hotspots for players,
Okay.
and that's why, in general, you cannot forbid a player from entering your own town.
And
Now,
that's
if you
fair.
are in war with another guild, you can attack each other, and that you can attack each other on the ground, on the city grounds as well. The other players are not any way able to hurt your town in any way. Like you cannot enter a town and start robbing a house, rob the bank, or steal from the warehouse. That's not possible.
Okay.
Okay, that's only possible during a siege, and I guess we'll get there later
Yeah.
on in the Q&A.
So you brought up guilds, which is a great transition. Thank you for that. Made it easy. So the next subtopic will be guilds versus free cities. The first question on hand is if a guild is created, a guild city is created, can people not in the guilds settle in the city if they have permission, or would it be strictly guild members only?
No. Okay, so that's a bit of a misunderstanding. We had in that document we talked about free cities, guild cities, and so on. That whole idea is kind of gone.
Okay.
So it's no longer a thing. So right now the ways, since we have decided to expand the powers of a governor, at this point there doesn't have there's no need to have guild cities and player cities and the
Okay.
free cities anymore, because anyway as a governor you can kick out the players. So if it's and you can decide whom to accept into the city.
Okay.
So if you want a city to be a guild city, you claim it with your guild. You only accept the citizenship applications of members of your guild, and it becomes de facto a guild city. Okay,
Okay.
but it's not. But there's no hard-coded distinction between one type of city and the other.
Now, that being said, will you have banner placements to show pride for the guild, possibly? Or if I am, if I just want to make a city, because example, crafter guild, right? So if you have a city as a crafting guild, because I've seen that, they're a thing, RP cities, you have just PvP. So is there a way that on the site right now, my guild is a crow, it's a purple banner. Could I place that inside of my city to show this is my guild, we're rocking the city out, just know where you're at, kind of thing? Is that possible?
Eventually going to add a few customization options. Oh, I see that the video is gone.
No, it's back.
Okay. I think it's me with my foot. I keep hitting. I should stop doing that. Okay. The banners. We will eventually add some customization options for sure. That's both for guilds and for cities. So banners are going to be of course the first thing we will do. So yes, eventually there will be, not soon, not anytime soon, but
Right.
eventually it will be a thing. And it will also be related to the Fractured store, so you will be able to buy more customization options from the store.
Oh, that's a very good thing. Okay, very cool. So show pride, and it gets you back to the microtransactions, which is good too. And to touch note on that, guys, all microtransactions will not have anything really to do with players. It'll be stuff like he's saying. So if you look on the store now, there you can buy animals, you can buy statues. There's stuff that's already there that you can buy with the gold specific from the stores. So good news there, and obviously they're going to expand on that, which he just said. So that sounds really, really cool. Second question, if a free city has a second or third votes to become a guild city, what happens to the third of the people who voted against it? Do they get kicked out, or do they remain?
Yeah, as I told you, there's no more guild cities.
Okay, good.
There's no more thing.
Okay.
In general, as I said, the governor can kick people out anytime.
Good.
When you kick somebody out, the person has the time, as a grace period, to gather his goods and leave. So it's not like I kick you out, I take all your stuff right away.
Oh, okay, good. So you have more of an eviction kind of thing that happens, just 60, 30 day. Okay. Now, it's a lot of this is kind of funny, guild versus free cities in general, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll pose this more of a question than a statement. You're trying to make it more of a player-based city. I know you have starter towns, but you're looking to make the player-ran cities more of your Keynotes, or to hit EverQuest for because I know we're using all the other games, but like where your player town could be a major city but ran by you specifically for commerce.
Yeah, so I mean the starting towns are good. We're going to have like a couple starting towns on Mir, and maybe 2 or 3 in each continent.
Okay.
No more than that. But we expect starting town never to be particularly relevant, only for new players. Once you are no longer a new player in your first 3 hours of gaming, you leave the starting town and you just go in a player-made city.
Wow. Okay, so you really are not expected to even hang out there, and you're really expected to transition to get you in the game quickly to player cities.
Yeah, we expect a few player cities will become hubs for commerce for one reason or the other. So as I mentioned before, a city right out of the Veil of Shadows naturally is going to have a lot of players hanging around because they go back and forth from the Veil. One that is strategically located between many different points of interest, it's naturally going to be more populated than one small city in the mountains, in the Great Mere Shield, in the middle of nowhere. That probably only the members, only the citizens of that town are going to hang around in that town. Or the guild, or the fighters in the soldiers in the event of a siege. But otherwise, regular players are probably going to completely ignore that city in the middle of nowhere on the mountain.
Now, is there a situation that you might foreshadow with towns? So, example, I know we're going to have 3 different continents, planets. Is there a situation where I, as say a demon, because I want to play a demon, I've got to play a demon, I'm going to play a demon no matter what, but 99% of my friends are playing humans. Will there be an opportunity for me to be in their area and be successful, or is it going to be a really trying event to A, get there, and then B, sustain life there?
Oh, you mean a demon living in a human city?
Yeah.
Not possible, no.
Okay. I had to ask, Tim, if someone's going to ask this one day, so I figured I'd ask. So
no, when you go as a demon, when you travel to Syndesia, you only have a limited time to stay.
Okay.
You cannot settle, and if it's during an eclipse, you also have like all your statistics as they're meant to be. If it's not during an eclipse, you also are debuffed as a demon traveling to Syndesia. So yeah, it's definitely not a thing to settle.
Now there is something that
unless you change alignment and become an angel, that's a whole different story.
a whole nother Q&A too, because that's awesome. So there was something I did miss, and I want to apologize. We could backtrack real quick. There was a question about the gold mine that came up, and it was a relevant question, and I just kind of got caught up because of the flow of where we were going. But resources outside of human made, say, is there a resource limit? So if I have a town in a gold mine, can I deplete it if, say, we had thousands of people decide to log on one day and mine, or is it on a like typical resource node management where every 48 hours it replenishes, or the time
it replenishes? It replenishes.
So it never goes away. Okay, all right. I just
want
to make sure.
We're going to try to limit, of course, the amount of resources that you can extract. So there are some games where the regeneration of resources is extremely fast. Like each node replenishes in like 30 minutes or so.
Right.
Fracture things are a lot slower. I think you've seen them already with trees, for example. Now they are a bit too slow. Actually, we're going to make them a bit faster, but you get the idea. Like you don't if you have a gold mine, there's only a limited amount you can take out every day.
Okay.
It's not like you 100 players there and you mine for gold day and night and you become insanely rich, of course.
Well, that was, I guess that was the question, was could I make all the gold, all the things, right? Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So that makes me happy to know that that's technically not something that can be abused would be my assumption, because if it does have, just like trees, because trees do take quite some time to replenish, which is good, and I like that, because it makes resources a thing and not something you just go, oh, I need bag space, do I drop this or do I drop that? That question comes up quite a bit, so that's really good to see. So kind of back on track with cosmetics, there's been a couple questions here, about 3 or 4. I know we touched about that possibly coming up with microtransactions and so forth from the Dynamite Studios, gold being used for that. Will there be cosmetic variations of the same structures based on building materials? We kind of touched on that a little bit, marble versus granite versus wood. Where do you guys see that going? So example, if I have a 3x3 rustic, can I have a 3x3 marble? Can I have a 3x3? And then I would only need those specific, bless you, those specific things to be there. How does that kind of play out?
Yeah, so as I said, it depends on the blueprint you drop. If you drop the blueprint of a marble palace, that's a marble palace, and you have to build it with marble. Of course, if it's like in different planets, you have different types of buildings. So right now, the only thing you've seen so far is the aesthetics of the human planet.
Yep.
Right. So you have this type of medieval Europe kind of thing. But if you go to the business planet, you have the whole Maya, Aztec, South American kind of aesthetics. Okay. So if you place a house there, it's going to look very different from the one from the towns and the public buildings on Synthesia. And there's going to be a whole different set of materials, of course, and its own aesthetic.
So basically, you're saying be a demon because they're awesome.
The whole demon thing is kind of Arabic, Middle Eastern, because it's very, very hot.
Right. So you have very desert, arid kind of feel to it, mud huts and so forth. Now,
no mud. No mud.
No,
Come on.
No.
Mud is gross. It's they're demons, but they're civilized.
So okay, all right, I got you. So volcanic rock and glass and stuff, cool stuff like that, maybe. Very cool. Yeah. Now, will Beastmen, human, and demon cities have different graphics on buildings? And I guess we kind of touched on that now, but as far as player cities, where the humans may have more of a traditional Midwestern style home central, or say are the demons, would they have some monolithic style look to them where they're grandeur and they're demonic looking, or are all they kind of very similar, just different building materials?
No, as I said, the aesthetics of Tartarus is kind of desertic Middle Eastern. So there's an Arabic influence.
Okay.
That's kind of the style, and of course, but kind of twisted and kind of demonic because they are really evil and bad people.
Okay.
So that's how it's going to be. We don't want to make it like super spooky and so on.
Doom?
Yeah, exactly. We still want to make it pretty nice, but of course with a sort of dark touch.
Now, with Beastmen, we haven't touched much on them. We always talk about humans and demons. With Beastmen, is that going to be more, I don't want to say flowery, but more nature in
Yeah,
like
sure.
essence,
Yeah,
kind of?
yeah,
Okay.
jungle-ish. Yes.
Okay, very nice. All right, because I've seen some of the drawings and landscapes that you guys have put out on the press pack, and that looks beautiful, very flush, and looks good. With everything buildable, be module or based on blueprints, how much possible customization can we expect? Oh, okay. So to clear that up, so are they going to look at module as opposed to just having your blueprints of 3x3s, or could I have a 3x3 based on and then add a 3x3 to make like an L shape?
No. It's the type of the buildings are already we create the building.
Okay, so very stagnant, but internally is where we can make those customizations with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's internal. Yes.
Okay. Now, there's something else that maybe that's here, but I saw that there's a hearth. Are you guys? Is that just for aesthetics, or is that going to do? Is that going to play any role? There are some of the games that hearth is kind of like where everyone goes to hang out, to recuperate, to get stamina back, or is that just going to be more of like a cosmetic thing that you put in the corner and you can cook off of, kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, in your own piece of land, when you put down earth fire, yeah, you go there to rest, and you go there to cook, and so on.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, the campfire is temporary and has fewer recipes. The other one is more sophisticated and it's permanent. So you need it anyway in your place. And well, in the tavern, it's in the city. The tavern is going to be the tavern as a whole is going to be very important, because if you rest there, you get more bonuses.
Oh, okay.
So yes, you get some resting bonuses, unlike what will happen when you sleep at a campfire. So you're definitely it's going to be relevant how well made and how good the city is for the bonuses that you get sleeping in that city. So there's going to be these whole mechanics around taverns.
Now, somebody actually said, which is a really cool question. It doesn't really have a section, but it kind of does fall in the lines of management, maybe. Says, what happens if a large city falls a level? Will structures on the outskirts decay? As far as leveling up, say if I hit max level, I've expanded out as far as I can go, and then for whatever reason, we stop doing city management and we go out and we decide that we just want to pillage for a whole time period of food and so forth for taxes. If we come back to our village or city, will it look as if it's shrunk, and can we recoup what may have been lost?
Yeah, so right now, to be honest, being able to make different graphics for decaying buildings is pretty tough. Like, it's pretty resource intense,
right?
So I don't know how much we will be able to push that, honestly.
Okay.
What's going to happen is that buildings, particularly crafting stations, the high-level ones, will become unusable until you get your prestige back to where it's meant to be.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like that actually better. That's good.
And there's going to be a point where you just lose the city.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good to know. Now, is there anything like server-wide, or is there just local on the local like blip system? We'll say, hey, this city is going to go into IDOC. You're going to lose this city if it's not taken care of, kind of thing. Is that global, or how would we know that or be notified?
Oh, you can see that in the town management menu.
Okay.
So you can you can see that. I mean, everybody can see that when it's going to happen.
Oh, that's really
but
nice.
It's not like it happens from one day to the other. The tax collection, the food collection is some things are going to be daily. Most of them are going to be weekly, and you can store stuff in advance. So it's not like it's going to decay from one day to the other. It's
good.
It's a slow process. So you have plenty of time to prepare for that. And of course, I guess one of the things that I haven't seen asked, but maybe some people are thinking about right now, is that what happens if I am the citizen of a town and all the other players become inactive, and the governor becomes inactive, and it's just me and my friend, but all the other people are gone. You have to either you become the new governor, which you can do, but if you don't have a group, you just have to leave yourself, because the city is going to decay, and so you have to. But you see that you have time to prepare, so go. become the citizen of another town, move all the stuff to the other town, and leave your house behind because it's going to go down with the city.
Oh, that's a really cool dynamic. So that is a good question. So now, as far as governorships, voting, do you guys have something in place with the means of like what you just said? I and 7 friends of 100 friends that we were at the city. The 7 of us are left, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to be the governor." I apply for governorship, and how many votes does it take to ratify that? Do you have a certain set, or at the end of, say, a time period, if there were 20 votes and all 20 say you, or the majority says you, do you then get that, or how do you have that planned out?
No, it's just simple majority, independent from the number of votes.
Okay.
So that's what you need to win, basically. Yeah.
Now,
That's the simplest thing possible.
Is that a forever governorship, or are there quarterly or yearly based on the world time? Do you have that? Is there term limits? I mean, what do you have in, what's your plans on that?
There's no term limits. No.
Okay.
That would be a little too much.
That's a lot of coding.
Oh no, not a lot of coding, to be honest. That's very simple. It's just from a design perspective.
Okay, I see. Because it would be more active. I think it's trying to be shaking hands and kissing babies kind of thing all the time instead of playing the game. So that's good to know. Another question here, which I like, it says, and finally, knowing that a metropolis is a town area large enough with a town population of NPCs and players, and with enough player activity, from a technical point of view, can you give some insights on how the developers are planning to manage the big compilation load that such concentration of players on that certain node? How do you guys plan on looking at it? I know right now, real quick to interject, everyone who's watching, thank you for being here. If you are a backer on any level, you can get in today, and what they're looking to do is have the new player city kind of stress test the area. So get in. That's important. There's reasons why they're doing this. Back to you. So are you concerned at all with that type of issue where, say, one city has always a ton of people? With Spatial OS, do you have a way to fix that in case there's something up?
We will try to. I mean, big concentrations of people are always problematic, even with Spatial OS.
Okay.
Let's say less problematic, but nonetheless.
Okay.
They can be, right? If you have like 500 people in the city, it's a mess anyway. But what we're trying to do is that we will really try not to have one main city, because I'm just thinking about the example of Albion Online, for example, many other games where they have one big city, which is the city,
right,
where people go to, right? Carleon, an example of Albion Online, and which is put in the center, and it's just that city, and you're meant to gather there, kind of meant to gather there. In Fractured, we're trying to spread people around the map as much as possible.
Okay.
So as I told you, we will have between 20 and 30 big cities, and we expect people. Of course, there's going to be some that are going to be more important than others. That's guaranteed. But we definitely don't want there to be a city that is full of players and the other 25 big cities are almost empty.
Okay.
Right.
So you said Shadow Vale. That's going to be huge. That city is definitely going to be one of the bigger cities. Just because it's a cool place to be, and depending on where you place it in the hub and travel, I mean, that's going to be big. But so example, you have that. Now if fishing's an issue, or fishing, so example, if you make a port somewhere, what would give me the whys to go outside of the city, the Vale? Are you looking to make other cool places like the Vale that will pull people there? I guess is what I'm saying, right? So like a point of interest, of course, but the Vale's cool. People are going to go there. Yeah. Why would they go to a fishing hole outside of Crafters? Are you going to have an epic boss encounter or something like that?
Well, there's going to be a lot more hotspots points of interest than the Vale, of course. So the whole continent of Mir now is pretty empty compared to how it's going to be in the end, right?
Okay.
Once we hit full release. So right now, basically, we have Artwood, the Goblin Hills, and the Vale. So that's only 3 things, plus the Deadwoods, but the Deadwoods are still kind of incomplete compared to the final version. But if you go, okay, let me link you. Let me link something. It's on the website, and I don't know if you have it in the Yeah, just give me a second.
I might.
Just send you an image.
Yep.
I'm a strictly single task person, so if I look for stuff, I cannot speak.
No, that's fine. No worries. I can do some speaking. So there was a couple questions that came up because we're getting close to the pre-done questions, and I don't want to because they're on topic. There was a question about from Immaculate. He said. Would be nice if we could touch upon the difference in that if the governor vote mechanic doesn't pertain to the demons. So I guess he's asking a question based upon each particular race itself. Do we have to be concerned with, like, so that a demon's going to have different governmental ways as opposed to humans, or is there just kind of a common knowledge?
No. We want to make it the same anyway.
Okay.
Then I think things will play out differently in
Right.
the demon planet, but technically it's the same way. Oh, by the way, I just dropped the link to the map of Mir. This image is quite old. It's from our pre-alpha, so it's more than one year old. And the big difference you may notice is that we've flipped Mir 45 degrees to the right. So that's if you compare it to the
why
we did a little mistake when we made this map. We just forgot that everything in our world is shifted 45 degrees. So there was this little mistake. But yeah, so this is, but anyway, in terms of like points of interest, this map is kind of valid. So it's as I said, you can see some town spots in this map. That one is really different. So these were like 40 town spots all the same, but the actual ones are actually, as I said before, way more than the ones that you see in this map.
Right.
But this map is still kind of relevant in that you can see that you have the Whispering Woods, the Veil of Shadows, which is there. You have the Heartwood in the center of the map with the temple, which is already there. You have the Goblin Hills, but there are going to be more points of interest around the world. So there's going to be the Towers of Galvanos, there's going to be the Garden of Delena, so various PvE hotspots related to different gods. There's going to be a third goblin area. Now you've seen the shadow, dark, evil goblins in the Vale, and you've seen the barbaric goblins in the hills. There's going to be a third kind of hex themed, voodoo themed goblins in another other mountains, probably in the Shield Mountains. I think it's that's going to be the place. You can see them below the Veil, and then there's going to be there's going to be quite a few points of interest. You can see the towers, actually. You can see them already if you look to the very left of the map. You see a tower next to the Oakwood Hills. The names are different also now, but you can see there's a tower there. There are 5 towers actually.
We're going to bring that up here in 2 seconds. I want to show everybody. Bear with me. So much going on. I need like 4 more screens. It's not even funny at this point. This up here. You guys will be able to see that.
Quite small. Oh yeah, here it is. So if you go to the left.
Okay.
Yeah, if you zoom in and move to the eastern side of the map.
Whereabouts you want to go?
Yeah, zoom in more. I think. Yeah, move to the left now. Left corner.
Oh wow, Guard Mountains, Eastern Guard Mountains.
So you can see the 5 towers there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, they're there. And so that's for example 5 different points of interest that haven't been added to the game yet. So there's going to be, as I said, a lot more than what you can see now. So we don't expect everybody will be in front of the Veil of Shadows. Even though the Veil of Shadows is going to be huge because now you have only 1/3 of the Veil. There's a lot of stuff coming, but there's also going to be a lot of stuff outside.
Wow. Now I saw in this last launch for the test, I saw you guys redesigned, in essence, or added to Heartwood. So you plan on making that even larger than it is now? Or what are because the runes are almost double the size than they were. And that was a lot of fun to see just that come out and do what it needs to do. It is really weird. You're not lying. It's really weird looking at this map this way, because I'm so used to it's really strange to see it this way. But it's really neat
because it's flipped.
Yeah, because it's like it's going this way instead of it going up towards.
Yeah, I know. It's 45 degrees. I know.
So on this map here, as far as like Dancing Meadows, Shield Mountains. So each mountain. So in this one, for example, the point of interest would be, I see there's 2 mining points. Would they be like a marble and a silver, or like how does that? What are your thought processes on that for point of interest? Like, why would I want to put my home or my player city near this?
Oh, well, it depends. It depends. Like if you are a PvP focused guild, for example,
Okay.
or a pretty hardcore competitive PvE also, but I'm mostly thinking about PvP. A city next to a mineral mine is going to be pretty relevant. I mean, yeah, for armor, yes, and weapons and so on, and all the advanced crafting. I mean, there's a difference between those and the primitive weapons that you use and the primitive armor that you use now. So I guess many people will want to have cities there, for example. But as I've said, even in cities that are not close to mineral vein, but mineral deposits hotspot, but they are in the so to say close to the delta of a river, right, where you can get sand for glass, and you can get a specific kind of sea resources and so on that can be used to make food, can be used to make buffs and so on. They're also relevant for PvP. So there's a lot of stuff that is relevant anyway. And it's basically impossible for a single guild to have them all. You know, even though a guild can actually own more than one town, because it's enough that you have 2 governors and they are all part of your guild. So technically, you control 2 towns. It's anyway, you need to have many citizens within one town, which means many different accounts, player accounts, in the same town to be actually able to grow it, right? So if you have a guild with 100 people, you get one big city. That's enough. Like you populate one big city. You don't populate. You don't populate 2. You just don't have enough people physically to populate 2 cities to be able to make it rank up to a point where you can do all the cool stuff. So it's better if you focus on one city, and then you trade with the other cities.
Wow, that's fantastic. So we've hit all of our preordained questions. We did really well on that. If you've got a few minutes, we could open it up to the chat and see if they have anything maybe on point that we may have forgotten.
I do have a couple minutes, not much, sadly, but
that's okay. All right, because I think we're exactly at when we started at 1 hour. So, hey, chat, if you guys want to ask any questions real quick, I'll try to grab a couple pertaining to the city spotlight stuff that we're doing today. I would greatly at Oxford. It comes up red so I can see your questions. I know there's a couple minute delay, or a couple seconds rather. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. If not, we'll honor that hour and we'll do the giveaway, because God knows, like, there's a million people that want the keys. That's a great one. Mr. Fester has a question. Town portal. Will it be there, or will it be skill based? Can I go and port from, say, a town that's in the Western Guard Mountains all the way to Heartwood? How would that work?
Yeah, so that's a very complex point, and we are actually not sure yet how many options we're going to give players. The idea of 2-player towns opening a portal between one another, it's something that we want to implement. But all these kind of fast travel options are going to be very limited in terms of what you can bring with you. So you're not to be able to basically move anything or almost anything of value from one place to the other, and that's there's the catch. So if you want to move quickly to another point, and also you're going to have to spend the currency to actually move from one town to the other. So anyway, as a new player, that's not what you're going to do. As a new player, if you want to level up or learn new abilities, gain knowledge for the talent tree and all that stuff, you move from one city to the other, from one hotspot to the other, all around the map, and you explore all the map that way. Like you don't teleport around. When you are an advanced character and you say you have a PvP battle happening on the other side of mirror, and you just want to join your friends, then you go, you get a gate. You're able to do that, so you're able to get there quickly. Then you get all the equipment and restock your character, and then you go and fight. But you don't move resources for trade with fast traveling.
Will there be any type of ocean travel to go from port city to port city, possibly?
The same. I mean, if we do that, it's going to be magical, like the teleportation, and not actual boats and so on.
Okay, that's a fair question and a fair answer. That's good. And real quick, this is really important, I think, that we didn't ask, and thank you, Lenny. Abusive governorship. Is there a way to vote out a governor?
Well, there is a way to vote out a governor, and when the election time comes. But before that, you need to stick with your governor
through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Or you lose your populace.
I don't know. Well, I mean, of course we can add an option whereby if you have 2/3 or 75% of the citizens of a town that want to oust the governor, they can launch a new election. As I said, if you manage to get 66% or 25% of the people on the town in signing your petition to oust the governor, something like that.
Okay.
We might do that, but it's a bit of an overkill.
Right.
It's as I said, it's a game. It's not a real political system.
Very nice. Okay, that's a fair thing, because I mean, you don't ever design something and just always think of the bad. Usually you want to be like, this is good, this is why we're doing this, and you think of really good reasons of why and how to implement it, but you never think, or you try not to think of all the negative things that could go along with it, right? Like, oh, you don't want to think that someone's going to be a governor, they got voted in, and all of a sudden, well, they're really bad at what they do. You hope that they're going to be good at what they do. That's why they're either the guild leader or a leader of. So that's really good. That's good to know too. Now, as far as you said something with citizenship, and I guess we can end with this one here, and I think it's kind of important. Citizenship itself, can I dual enroll? Very similar to how I've got a friend who's from Colombia, and he's also a United States citizen. He's both. Do you have that ability to dual enroll citizenship?
No. You can be a citizen of only one town.
Okay, that's fair.
And that's mostly for technical reasons, in terms of we need to limit the amount of land a player can own to just one plot anywhere. So if you're a citizen of one town, with your account, you're a citizen of that town. Period. Not your character, but your whole account is a citizen of that town.
Okay, very fair. Well, I want to keep true to this.
And you can also, and of course, if you have, you can be a citizen of one town per planet. Of course, that is also a thing, because of course, it's if you have
multiple planets.
Character, yeah.
That's really good. Oh, and then speaking of that real quick, because that came up in my brain in a few questions too, and we'll end with this one because I want to honor that hour. Where are you with? Can I have multiple characters on different planets on one account?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so I can have a demon and go fulfill my fruits of rape and pillage and evil deeds, and then be that nice little angel and own a governorship on, the human planet and be perfect and pretty. Okay,
you can.
That's good to know, because I have those stints if I want to be good and want to be bad. So, well, that's great. So I want to finish up with saying thank you very much again with the good Q&A. The questions were fantastic. I know that we talked behind the scenes about possibly doing this on either a bi-weekly or something like that. We'll figure that out. I know that you're very busy, and no offense, as much as I love having Q&As, I do want you to develop the game too. So that's kind of important.
But that's fine. That's a Sunday, right? So I would not be developing, or maybe I actually would.
Or playing Magic the Gathering.
That's also very likely, yes.
Which I play, yeah. So, all right. Well, and then as far as announcements on the next Q&A and Spotlight, how do you plan on getting those out to the masses through Twitter? Because I want them to follow on Twitter, or what's the best way to say, hey, in 2 weeks, this is what we're doing on that date? What should they look for as far as announcements?
Well, I mean, I guess we're going to post that in the newsletter, on social media, the forums, like we did this time.
Beautiful.
I think the newsletters website post plus newsletter is the thing.
Okay, and I always put those on Twitter and Instagram myself, tag you guys, and vice versa. So you guys will get that out there. Yep.
By the way, there's one question I actually would like to reply to, which I think came from Logain, who asked, what will be there of the whole city system in the next testing phase?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there was that question too, which is kind of interesting. Of course, there is not going to be the whole system, and not even 50% of it, but the core is going to be there. So the possibility to claim a plot, a city plot. I mean, governor pledge, people standing behind the governor, the person becomes a governor, putting down public buildings, personal plots, building in personal plots, the roads, of course, because the roads come before everything else, the walls, the door of the city, this whole construction part is coming, applying to become citizen, being kicked out from your place. All these core systems are going to be there, and which means that you will finally have a world with multiple banks, multiple taverns, multiple hotspots where player can gather and so on, instead of just the starting city. That stuff is coming.
Okay.
What is not coming yet is the resource hotspots. They're super important. So they, as I said, stone deposits, minerals, sand, fertile areas, and so on. Those things are not coming yet. And the whole maintenance of the town is also going to work a little differently in the next test. You will not have sieges, so the whole this whole competitive part is not coming yet. But I say it's the basics of claiming a city and building your city is coming in the next test.
So okay, so I will have to play devil's advocate. Will I finally get my dragon in the second part of the Veil also?
That's actually pretty well possible. Yes. I mean, consider that we are not focusing much on content right now, so we're focusing. So the guy who used to work on the creatures and the new spells and so on now is working on the talent tree.
Okay.
Plus a lot of other like core things that were missing, such as trading between players, splitting stacks of items, all these small things that are missing now. He's working on that stuff, and he's working on the talent tree. The talent tree is the other big thing coming in the next test.
Okay.
So there's that, and that's these are the two things in terms of like content, new monsters, new abilities. There will be something, but not much.
Okay. All right. Now,
but I think that cities and the talent tree and so on are more interesting than the dragon, even though the dragon is really interesting.
I just like to kill things, but yes, you are 100% correct. So, in closing, I know that we've talked in the past about like where we at in time frames and all that stuff. When do you? It's a two-part. How much longer do we have in this test? In your mind, possibly not going to hold you to stone, because if you let it go longer or shorter, it is what it is. And then secondarily, do you have an idea of when the next phase will be?
June.
Really? So pretty close then. Wow, fantastic.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then obviously we'll talk more about the Q&As and stuff like that. But do you have an idea what you'd like to spotlight next time, so they can start getting questions together in their heads?
Oh, it's pretty tough. So we haven't covered everything about cities. We haven't talked about territory controlled sieges and so on. So there is something to talk about there. There's a lot of stuff to talk about there. But I don't know if that covers a whole spotlight. I mean, a whole Q&A, 1 hour. Not so sure.
Okay.
So interesting. What do we have? I mean, we've already done other Q&As in the past. We've already talked a lot about the other races and planets and so on. So I think something focused on player versus player and the whole competitive side of the game, including sieges and so on, could be an interesting topic. I know that many people are very interested in that, and they haven't had a chance to do PvP and so on yet. So maybe we could go with that. I don't know.
Okay.
I will have to discuss that with the other,
of course,
Dynamite people and see if they come up with something also.
We've got to get some cardboard cutouts for them. You got to put them behind you with some cardboard cutouts so we can see the team back there in the back, just kind of hanging out. They don't have to say anything, but just there.
I will. I'll see what I can do.
That sounds good, because I mean, even now that we've had, I think, at least 10 or 15 questions on PvP. So even of course it's fluid, right? We're in alpha, and I know that things do change, but I think a lot of it, if we hypothesize about the direction, can get a lot of people excited about PvP and how how it would work dynamically in the game and stuff. So, I mean, I'm game to do any of these, but if that's something that you'd like to focus on, that'd be really cool as far as talking. We can, you know, put the thing up like you did last time on the site, give them another 2 weeks. Some good questions this time. Thank you guys. Thank you chat. Thank you the forums. Really good in-depth questions, and we're running into an hour and a half, so I don't want to do that. So Prometheus, my man, I really appreciate you. Thank you so very much. You have anything to do for closing statement?
Nothing special. Again, just thanks for being here. Have a nice evening with your partner, with your friends, if you have them at home with you. Which I guess most of you are not able to go out, I assume. But I don't know, if you are still in a place where you can enjoy life normally, enjoy that, because it's probably not going to last. And
Exactly.
and see you all in the next Q&A. See you all in game. By the way, it's now it's a key giveaway time. Let's not forget it. So I'm going to give the keys to Oxford, and Oxford is going to give them to all the people who ask interesting questions.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah. So we're going to have, say, 20 keys, maybe, like last time. What did we have last time?
I think we did 10. I think we did 10.
We did 10. Okay. Well, let's see. I will let you judge. So if it's not enough, if it's few keys, it's Oxford's fault. If it's many keys, it's thanks to me.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye, and thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.